range, yeah. Yeah, it slaps.
Welcome back to Show Me Yours with Jackie and Jonny, everybody.
I'm Jackie Agnew.
I'm Jonny DeVito. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest episode. They're all special episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to stop saying it at some point, but this one is special.
Particularly special.
I think so.
Yeah.
Great guest, fantastic album. I mean, what more could you want?
Yeah, a rare lady guest on the pod.
Yeah, we're working on it. We're working on getting some more. Contrary to popular belief, women actually listen to music and enjoy it. I've spent many a day, mansplaining tunes to chicks. You know, turns out they've been listening all along.
Yeah,
and some might even have their own things to say about it. This is quite the advancement,
quite the discovery.
Absolutely. No, but today we have a very special one. This album that we're gonna do is like one of the biggest ones that, I don't know, probably in my young high school career or whatever, right? Let's open our eyes to the world around us, right? The world's on fire. How about yours?
Yeah.
It's not Smash Mouth.
I wish. We should do Smash Mouth sometime.
It's up to anybody. Anybody who wants to bring in Smash Mouth.
If you want to bring on Smash Mouth. But yeah, this episode, all the way from New Zealand, we have the lovely Sophia Johnson.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was a slight to Peter having her on here. It was a direct attack.
We've been saying fuck Peter Grant for a long time now, so we would actually reach out to the entire continent of New Zealand, country, I guess. I don't think it's its own continent. I think Peter's up his own ass because Australia's its own continent, right?
Is it Oceania? Is that like it encompasses all of?
None of it's important to me because I'm never gonna go over there. They have spiders and things that scare me that go bump in the night.
They do. They
so I'll be over here doing good things, talking to nice people like Sophia Johnson. Peter Grant can go fuck himself.
Exactly. That's the takeaway. But while you're here, please like and subscribe, share with your friends, share us on your Instagram story.
Yeah.
Give us a review, leave us a 5-star rating, all of that, all that good stuff. Yeah.
If you don't want to, frig off, man.
Yeah, then why are you listening?
Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Welcome back to Show Me Yours, everybody. We are joined today by a special guest, comedian, actress, Kiwi. You may have seen her in Ash vs. Evil Dead on Netflix, or a number of shows all around town, all around the province, all around the world, perhaps.
It's been
yeah, Sophia Johnson, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
So, I mean, when I want to like really spike the camera, I'll do this, but mostly you'll just see my head, right? Like,
you
can see the back of my.
No, it's totally cool.
Great fun.
Yeah.
If you want to actually completely turn the back, it'll be a new format we haven't really experimented with yet. But
Where they're like, who is the guest?
That could be a mystery thing. We could blur your face out right now.
Yeah, distort your voice.
Like the people in Haunting of Bly Manor. Hill House. Yeah, Bly Manor. Did you guys watch that?
I haven't. I've heard great things
the
about
ghosts all look like dolls with no faces. Like they've got like the
creepy.
Yeah.
I'm like kind of sunken in where the eyes are and stuff like that. Can you still kind of make out the features?
Exactly.
Ooh, spooky.
Ooh, we can do some post work on this.
Absolutely.
Figure out how to do
What's
that.
the budget?
Not a whole lot. Honestly, not a lot.
Non-existent.
We got the equipment, and now we're hoping that like the personality can take it forward. But I mean, hey, let's.
I got this.
One cast at a time.
Don't worry, guys. I'll take it from here.
Please, absolutely. Well, no, this is actually exciting. I mean, this is a music podcast. We have an album today that I'm very excited about. You know what I mean? Kind of the childhood that, I mean, I was 11 years old in 2001. This came out a few...
I was 11 as well.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah, or maybe I would have been, because I'm born in July, so I think I might have been 10 when it actually hit.
What a time to be alive.
What a time. What a time.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But anyway, so the album in question, System of a Down's Toxicity,
I mean, let's go ahead and say it. Like it's not overrated. It's a goddamn masterpiece at this time. That thing still slaps.
It's not.
Yeah.
It slaps.
Yeah,
as we
it
like
does
to say
slap,
now.
yeah.
We said that back then.
Yeah.
No, I did
Yeah,
fucking
it
riffs
slaps.
or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's a bop.
core, man.
Yeah.
No, but either way, like it's exciting. Honestly, we're always excited to kind of guess which guest is going to bring in what album.
Yeah.
And this has
What did you guys
been.
guess?
Well, it's hard to say. You're from the other side of the world. I mean, we had Peter
Yeah.
Grant on, and he brought on some weird kind of island
Some,
acoustic
hippie,
stuff.
hippie
like,
folk
Of
stuff.
course he did.
Yeah, right.
Like something we all know, Pete.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
That's why I remember when I went to see a concert, like in New Zealand, we have Big Day Out, and so I actually saw System of a Down live a few times.
Nice.
Oh shit.
And so all the bands will come, and Violent Femmes played, you know,
Yeah,
like,
hell
like
yeah.
a place to
Totally.
live. And when I was watching them, I was like, I realized I didn't know any of their other songs.
That is
yeah.
a problem with that band.
Yeah.
I was like, and I think I missed that song or something. Like, I think like I was like coming from another band because
Yeah,
it's like, you know,
multiple
one of those things.
stages.
Right.
Multiple-
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not hearing it. You know? Like all I wanted was for them to
Just
play
that
that
one
song
song,
on
yeah.
repeat.
I think that's a
for
big.
their whole hour or 2 hour slot.
Right,
or what,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
I'm pretty sure
just
that
do the hit.
that's a gripe that they have with music industry or
I'm
fandom in
sure.
general because they
Yeah.
my sister's a big Violent Femmes
Yeah.
Violent Femmes fan, and their rest of their catalog doesn't really.
They're like, you know, other songs like.
Yeah, right, which is totally fine, and I think I could nod along to it for sure. But Blister in the Sun is one of the fucking arguably one of the greatest songs of its.
Big hands, I know you're the one.
Yeah, right.
I stand sheets, I don't even know why. My girlfriend, she's at the end, she is starting to cry. There are other songs?
There you go.
Ask
Yeah.
me one lyric, one word they say.
It's I mean I don't know, it's a goddamn classic, right? But
Yeah.
when you're 10 years, when did you see System of a Down? How were you super young? Was that like a life
I would
changing
have been, so
experience?
like my first, I got into the Toxicity before I first saw them.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so at New Zealand it was this kind of weird thing. So we had, as I said, it was called Big Day Out, and I went every year from when I was 13 to when I was 17. But it's possible I was actually 12 the first
Hell yeah.
time I went, but I would have been turning.
Right.
And I think I was like not allowed to get in, but my friend's mom had a stall there selling like, I don't know, glow sticks probably.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
You know, like party pills.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was like a
Bracelets.
new like legal high, which quickly became illegal because
Right.
A party
like,
pill?
whoops.
Was it like ecstasy adjacent or?
Yeah, it was meant to be. It was like worse drugs, but like I don't know. Some guy was like, "Oh, these can be legal because they're not." But then I think after like maybe 5 years, the government was like, "Oh,
Holy shit.
Yeah,
like,
this
people
definitely
shouldn't
not
have been taking
legal.
this."
Yeah.
So so it was
Shit.
like that. So she got us in as like helpers or something to work the. So it was like some.
That's awesome.
'cause
Right.
I think there might have been a limit on the.
Did you hang out at
yeah.
the stool, or as soon as you got in, were you off to the races?
Oh yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
Metallica's on later.
Fuck
like,
yeah.
Oh,
So
fuck yeah,
they
yeah.
closed the show that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I think System of a Down, gosh, I think it was the year after or the year after that. And my dad actually came.
Sick.
Oh, nice.
Because from us playing it at home, he's
Yeah.
like, well, I actually quite like System too. And he's like a writing professor, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, and then like my mom baked him like a blueberry cake or something to like take with him to the concert. Like a blueberry.
That is the most
Oh
adorable
my
thing I've ever
God.
heard in my life.
He had his hat on, you know, and his jacket. And he's like, we're going to watch System, you know. And as we call it, System. You know? My friends are all like, oh, you know, soft jets here. They were like, he's cool, you know.
Yeah.
He'd like brought in some weed.
Oh my
That's rad as
god.
hell.
That's
Have a little-
amazing.
and then
yeah.
by the time like he brought out the blueberry loaf, like we were not laughing anymore because concerts are a survival situation.
100%.
Right. Yeah.
So by that point we were like,
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
especially like it's like a festival like that. I imagine when an American band
Yeah.
gets out there, that's a massive show,
they
right?
get
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's big. I mean, they would get good lineups. I also saw like Rage Against the Machine.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Well, I was there, but so System, I think I for sure cried. Like
Yeah.
when I was like, that was I think I turned to my friend. I was like, that was a religious experience. Which like I don't know.
It's
I don't know if I
life-
regret
yeah.
saying it now. But
No,
like,
it's
at the time, she was
life-changing,
like,
it's
okay, so I was
life-affirming.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
But then after System of a Down split, I don't know if I should save this story for later in the podcast. It's a wind down. But after they split and Serj went solo, he moved to New Zealand, right?
get outta here.
And he lived out on like the beach in Piha. I think at that time he was very like the world's gonna collapse. He was a bit early, like it's collapsing now.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But in like
yeah,
2008, 9, he was like, it's over.
Well, he can see it
Well,
coming.
he's
you know
on the
what I
right
mean,
track.
right?
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
a visionary. You know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
He's like, I
ahead of
gotta
his
get to New Zealand. So he moved to New Zealand and he was solo, and that's when he did Elect the Dead. I don't know if you know
I've
that
never heard of
album.
solo stuff,
So it
no.
was like his solo album, and he did almost like one of those show off things where he played all the instruments and then overlaid them.
Yep.
But there's some
cool.
kick-ass songs in
There's
there.
some people that have
Nice.
made some great records doing that. I mean, if
Totally,
you have
yeah.
that vision and you aren't getting it from, you know,
Yeah.
I think Dave Grohl famously like did the redid the drum tracks on the first Foo Fighters
Yeah,
album. 'cause he
well, the
didn't like
first Foo Fighters
Right.
albums, he recorded every single part himself.
Yeah,
so
there-
it's
yeah.
all the first Foo Fighters album is
I
all
didn't know
Dave
that.
Grohl. Yeah.
I saw Foo Fighters too, I think.
Oh
when they were
yeah?
there. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like
They're
they'd
good
be
live. They got a
so
drummer
good
that can-
live. Yeah, their drummer's fucking awesome, Taylor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before, so once they got him, he's like, I don't need to record this myself. I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
well, they
I think
had
so,
a
yeah.
different.
the other guy.
Well,
They
for a
had
guy
a
that hit the drums
different,
so hard, once you find
yeah.
another guy that can
Yeah.
kind of do what you're looking for,
Well,
then
and he
you
had
can
found
trust
a
him, I think.
different.
A little bit of restraint.
Yeah, and he had
Yeah.
found a different drum player initially, and so when they did like recorded their first album as a band, and then Dave Grohl was listening to it back, and he was like, I could do these drums better, and so then he re-recorded himself on the drums,
he
and
did.
that's when
Yeah.
he found.
Do you imagine the slap in the face as the other
right?
guy, right?
Yeah.
He's like, don't worry, I'll just read.
Yeah,
I
and
played
so-
drums for Foo Fighters once, and
Yeah,
never
and
again.
yeah, and it's not on the album
Yeah.
at all.
Man,
Yeah.
that would be such a shameful, like.
Yeah.
But anyways, after they split and Serj came to, and what sucks because like later when I was working on like New Zealand soap opera, one of the guys there, one of the actors was like, "Oh, we partied with Serj this weekend." Like he was out at the beach, and I was like, "I gotta get out there every weekend."
Jesus
Like,
yeah.
Christ.
Oh my god.
but I bought tickets to his live show. He did a live show at the town hall
Yeah.
with the local Philharmonic Orchestra backing him.
awesome.
Of course he did, because
Wow,
yeah.
Serj is actually classically trained, right?
Well, you can see
okay.
like
An opera singer.
I think
Right.
even, with his vocal stuff. I think
yeah.
the early system you can you can start to see the like him take over more. I think like creatively and stuff. Like it was a lot more like metal or hardcore. I think the
The
demo
lead
stuff. Yeah.
guitarist is like much more
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
he likes that, and you can hear in Toxicity a fusion of both.
right.
Definitely.
You've
Yeah.
got Waterfall, and then that Armenian acoustic track afterwards.
Right.
And
Yeah.
but then you've got like jump, bounce, up, down.
Yeah,
And
it's
you know,
such a
like,
mix. Yeah,
That stuff is,
Yeah.
well, and
Cool,
I
yeah.
could see it's
I
interesting
gotta
that
get
it.
the other day. It's part of my pocket. I'm gonna sing System throughout the podcast.
Please do,
Yeah,
please do.
please
I
do.
love it.
Yeah, yeah.
You're the first one to really know the
musical
fucking words, right?
interludes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to be said about actually giving a shit about the album, Peter.
Yeah.
Peter Grant. I hope
Peter
you're watching
Grant.
this, Peter.
God. Actually, I do think he cared deeply about that album.
He
We
really
just-
did. I give
we
him a
just
hard
didn't
time
give
too
a
much.
fuck.
Yeah, but he did shit talk New Zealand, so.
Something we all know. What?
Oh yeah, he spent a good portion
Vendetta.
of the podcast shitting on Kiwis. Yeah.
Vendetta for life.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not the kind of
Yeah.
people that like to start beef on our show, but we just did. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Beef started. See you on the forum, Peter.
I'd love if you like bring him onto stage or something, you shoulder check him instead of shaking his hand.
I'm like, your next comedian. I don't know what he's done.
Yeah.
Just the worst intro ever.
Yeah.
Throw the mic on the ground for
Yeah,
him
yeah,
too.
yeah. Coil the cord around
Yeah.
the stand,
Yeah,
and then he's
yeah.
got to spend the first 10 seconds unwinding.
Yeah.
People do that. When
Really?
they're trying to
Oh,
mess with
really?
a cop, they'll do something like that, make it hard for them.
Oh,
I'm
Okay,
waiting
fine.
for it, but I've never really
Yeah.
seen anything incredibly petty like that.
yeah.
You'll get there.
Oh, hell
buddy.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
As
Yeah, I
people
can't
start to
wait.
get jealous of you and you work your way up, they'll be like,
Oh.
screw. Anyway, my story was
Yeah.
that I booked. My mom actually, she really encouraged me. I was like, I didn't have much money because I moved out of home. I was like maybe 17, and I had a job in a law firm as like a secretary, like a
Oh, okay.
a clerk, you know, with
Yeah.
filing
Yeah.
filing the evidence, the
Absolutely.
criminal disclosure. But I think I got paid like not much, and so it
Were
was
you
like
doing like paperwork or like actual evidence? Or no, I guess I'd be looking at police.
actual evidence.
Really?
The police disclosure. It was a criminal.
Oh, very cool.
Oh.
Anything?
so-
did anything
Shit.
stand out? Sorry to keep cutting you off.
Oh,
but, like,
yeah,
I
no,
mean, I want to see
yeah,
like hand
anything,
grenades or like a
yeah,
bloody
yeah.
glove or something.
So we worked on like quite high profile cases. There was a lot of like treaty work because it was like they were indigenous law firm,
Okay.
Right.
but they were also criminal. And so we had like one of the highest profile meth cases. Was one of my first.
That's fun.
Ooh.
And I still know like the addresses of the guys, like where they were cooking.
Holy
Oh my
shit.
god.
like,
Yeah.
who they- because I don't think the guy realized I was 17, like my boss.
Right, yeah, yeah.
I was like, here's all the like. It was one of those like almost movie moments where because I was just like they hired me just to like hole punch, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I was so bored that I just started reading everything. because it's mine, that
Totally.
eating, like the free cheese in the fridge,
Right, yeah.
That's your sort of that's your life,
Perfect.
Yeah, he bought like a wheel of camembert, and I think I was like too poor to buy lunch, so I think every day I was like, more camembert, cheese. But now I'm like, that was probably not like my acne at the time.
Oh yeah,
Probably
just
all
pure
that,
cheese diet. Yeah,
my camembert cheese.
Yeah.
But he said something about like, oh, there was no evidence for one of the counts. There was like 81 counts in this case.
Wow.
And I was like, actually, there's a telephone conversation. Literally. And he was kind of like, really? And I was like, yeah, I'm basically the Suits guy. I mean, I hadn't seen that show yet, but I knew it was somewhere in the. So then he let me like organize the evidence. I think I just started doing it because I was just supposed to put them in folders, but I started organizing each bit of evidence under the counts.
Right.
So it would be like count 16 and 17, which would have been like, because it was organized under like, like there was 5 charges of manufacture or whatever, and that was like 5 different dates over 2 years.
Right,
So I
right.
organized, and then it was like if the police surveilled them for these days, that was relevant to that count. I'd put all that surveillance notes in.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, that is an interesting job.
The other thing is I watched hours and hours of surveillance footage, which is pretty boring because you can't really see anything. That's the thing. Like the police, like, here's all our surveillance footage. It's just this kind of blurry outside a petrol station, and then
you don't have a post guy that can edit it to the good parts. Like, what the fuck is going on? Or do you? Or is it up to you to see like, oh, okay, this is person leaving?
I think the cops are generally trying to help. Like, I remember once he took me along to meet one of the clients or whatever that was in house arrest or whatever, and she was like, get me cigarettes to me. And I was like, I'm 17. Like,
I can't help you there,
But the cops was there or something, and I had to borrow, my boss wanted me to write down something, and I didn't have a pen on me. And so I asked one of the cops who was there, I was like, can I use your pen? And he's like, we don't usually help lawyers, but...
What?
I was like... Okay,
let me have a pen. Yeah.
Well, I guess when you got your criminal defense lawyers and then your cops on the other side.
Well, you're kind of on the
we're on the criminal
opposition
side.
For sure, right? Totally. As you should be.
It was actually super interesting, and
that's a really interesting job.
Yeah, but it wasn't meant like literally. I was when I first moved out of home. I was like, I didn't really have a plan. Like my friend was like, oh, you can move in here, and I think I had like enough rent to last me like maybe 3 weeks or something.
Right.
And then I was like, I really need to get. And my brother had worked this job, and some of his friends that was like the worst job ever. But they would let anyone do it. Like you could just walk up and be like, can I? And it was basically like you call people asking for money for this charity or like a phone thing, right?
Yeah.
For this Westpac, it was for like this rescue helicopter, and she'd be like, "Hi, I'm Sophia from Westpac Rescue Helicopter. Do you know that we receive no direct funding from the government? Like that's your like spiel, you know?"
Right.
Fair enough,
So I went and did that, but I think you get paid just a very small wage, and then you get it's only like from 4 p.m. till 8, so it was like not quite enough to cover rent.
Right.
So I was like a bit stressed, and then one of my friends worked there. Actually, 2 of my friends already worked at this firm, and they're like, do you want a boring hole punch job? And I was like, yes! I've never been so thrilled to be just offered, like, a crap job. Like, I was like, hallelujah. They're like, it's 9 to 5. And I was like, be right there. Like,
for sure. 9 to 5 is not a bad shift. And if you're coming from something that's like, I've had
like
so many.
$12.50 an hour starting.
Yeah.
I was like, be there in 5. Like,
yeah,
but whatever it is, even still, like, you could have a whole laundry list of bad jobs, but there's still something interesting that you're going to do there, even though it's like clerical and stuff like that. But everybody's had a shitty job.
I
worked at Staples, man. There's something fun like that at Staples.
Well, I didn't think there would be. Like I was prepared for kind of mind-numbing boredom and hopefully have enough money to pay for acting classes at night or whatever, which I ended up doing, and then transitioned from that to my first acting job. So it was cool.
That's awesome.
But it was like at one point I was like, oh, do I become a lawyer? Like this is kind of cool.
Right.
But then it's also like your brain is so. Like, I remember thinking it's like when you study an art, like you read books about a history, because, I loved history and stuff, you have all that beautiful information in your mind. Whereas I was like, all the information I have in my mind is exactly what these 4 meth cooks did for the past 2 years. So I was like, I'm filling up my brain. And that was honestly literally the decision, was like, what's going to be in my brain for the rest of my life?
Right.
You know? And when you're studying an art form, you might have music in your brain. I mean, now I have all these fucking jokes in my brain.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's fine, you know?
Or
I have scripts I've memorized from plays I've done in my brain.
Yeah.
When I was like, I think that's what... Which I don't know if that's a good reason to make it a career.
Well, I don't know. I think
so,
you'll push the not important stuff out, but at the end of the day, if it's incredibly interesting, like that's a really, great experience that nobody else has that you do, right? So you can tap into that for anything. If you wanted to write a book about cooking meth or something like that.
Well, at this point, Chris, my husband's overtaken me because his passion during lockdown was the meth subreddit.
Oh
He's
my
like,
god,
oh, it's good.
That's amazing.
Like people on there are
Just
like,
meth has its own. Oh, now I gotta go.
our
I'm
meth.
fascinated
Yeah,
already.
yeah.
he's like when we go to sleep, he's like 1 more minute. Like,
yeah.
he's like, because people on there are like, I need more money to buy meth. Should I just rob my neighbor? And everyone's like, yeah, do it.
Yeah, do it. Do it, man.
Like, because
Oh
they're
my
all,
God.
it's like a support group for people on meth that are like, yeah, it's like, yeah, dude, like, that's how you get money to buy. How do you think we get money to buy meth? Dude?
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
that's the
totally
game.
gonna join that subreddit. I want to be like the I want to start being like the voice of reason on there or something like that. Maybe I'm not gonna show anybody like the light or bring them to the Lord or something like that. But I might offer them like more interesting ideas and stuff
Steer
like
them-
that. Yeah.
steer
And then
them on
they
new
describe
adventures.
like the stages of psychosis of like day 5, like the shadow people appear. And,
Oh
like,
my
Ooh.
god.
it's like, so like now I'm like, man, I thought I knew a little bit, but Chris knows.
Yeah, well, you get the two different
Yeah.
sides of it there, because you have more of the like the legal surveillance side
Yeah.
of it, and now he
Yeah.
has like
I know
an
what
inside.
they look like in blurry
Yeah.
gas station pictures. He knows what's
They
going
look
on
at
in their
in the
mind.
gas station.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
Well, if
he's
you
like,
ever,
there was monsters clawing at his neck during that
Yeah.
photo.
Oh, man.
Well, if you ever like audition for a part of a meth addict, you're gonna be
I'm surprised
so.
I haven't already been cast as one. Like, no, but like with my physique.
I wasn't gonna say.
Yeah, dude, I scream junkie shit.
Totally.
Junkie
Like-
chic.
Like you just got off the bus yesterday, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like your
yeah.
life is just about to go downhill. Like you are perfect.
Yeah.
I'm like, hello. Like,
Yeah.
when I worked on, before I did Evil Dead the series, I actually worked on the Evil Dead movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just as like, I was actually meant to be a body double, and I was super sick. That's why I took the job, because I was in a major, and I was like, I actually had Crohn's disease. So
Oh, no,
I was
wow.
even
Oh, okay.
thinner,
Right,
And I was
yeah.
like, I'm feeling pretty fatigued, like with work and stuff, but I still had to earn money.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're like, you can body double on the Evil Dead. Like, they want someone, because the lead character is a junkie.
Right.
They want someone.
So you're perfect. Yeah.
They want someone that's really like rakishly.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, dude. And it was like pretty good pay too. And I was like, yeah, man.
Nice.
And I was still sick. Like I was like vomiting and then going to work and like,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember I did the makeup test as well. And I remember the makeup artist was like, Chunky Chic and you? Wow. And, like I even looked at it and I was like, man, like I look like a 90s model. Like
Could you like do that for like headshot? Like could you like snap a
Just
picture and be like, this is what I'm
just
capable
a
of?
little
Or
shadow. on it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know?
Put it.
they
yeah.
said there'd be fame in LA, but I only found
I
meth.
was like,
Like
I look good. Like, I was like, man, like. Anyway, so System of a Down was playing in New Zealand.
Yeah.
That's what we do on this show. We take long
yeah.
loops around. It's all
Serj
good.
Tankian solo show with the Philharmonic, and I bought tickets. So now you know the concept. That's a law firm. I only really just had enough money to like eat the cheese from the fridge or whatever.
Yeah.
But my mom was like, "No, like this is important. Like concerts are important. Like you'll remember this." And I guess she was
Yeah.
right, because here I am talking about it 10 years later.
That's
or whatever.
awesome.
yeah.
And basically I had like, there was this guy, he was a bit older than me, and he was like my friend's boyfriend's friend, right? So perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'd like given me a lift home one night from a bar or whatever, and System of a Down was playing in his car,
Oh.
which is enough
Fireworks.
to date someone.
Yeah,
you know?
totally,
Like,
totally,
at,
yeah.
At 18 or whatever I was by that point.
Well, if
Yeah,
you're listening
yeah.
to that kind of
Yeah.
music, like for me, I'm a real nerd about that. So if there's
And
if
then
there's even a
someone
hint
else?
of
Yeah.
because
It was like even vaguely attractive.
my last
Yeah.
girlfriend, I was like, well, I guess the Pixies are close enough. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's a fun thing. If someone's in a
Absolutely.
picture,
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
you like to drink and kind of dance around the living room. You know?
100%.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, so it was like, I was like, okay, kind of like this guy, like based on System. So I invited him to come with me to the System of a Down concert. He was just,
Yeah.
he was this British guy, and he was a bit older. He was like 30 or something. He was a bit older, and he had quite a high pitched. I didn't know, like he kind of talked like that.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
One time I was like, yeah, sexy.
One of those
Yeah,
great,
yeah.
yeah,
One of those real tough,
yeah.
real tough
But he
vocal tone
was
that you
quite,
look for in a
he
man.
was quite like buff and like cute, but he was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, what you doing? You know, and I was like, wow, exotic.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but
I've
like,
never
wow.
seen this
So I was
before.
like hard crushing on him, but I was
Uh-huh.
like, but I was still chill about it. I was like, I'm just gonna invite him to come with me to the System of a Down concert. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, right there. Or whatever. And so we went together, and it was like it was quite odd for System of a Down because it was in the town hall, which is quite a like glamorous building. I'm trying to
Okay,
think,
yeah.
almost like going to an opera or something. You know,
Okay.
like sort of, the old Stone kind of, with the sort of record. And then Serj's, with the... And it was so good that
did they do any System songs, or was it just his solo stuff?
It was all his Like the Dead.
Yeah.
But Like the Dead is pretty System. Like,
okay.
It's pretty good.
Nice. Let me check it out.
I was like, yeah, I'm into it. It's like System. It's a little bit more melodic, I would say. Softer, more a little bit less thrashy.
Yep.
But great. There's still a little bit of thrash. Anyway, but I think with the Philharmonic, it was particularly...
Right,
but, I don't know if you know the band Apocalyptica. They were like a group of cello... I mean, they were pretty niche, but they were a group of celloists that would do like Hall of the Mountain King and stuff, like classical pieces, but with electric cellos.
Right.
So it would be like... Dun, dun, dun,
heavy,
dun, dun,
yeah.
dun, dun,
Right.
dun. So there is a crossover in the classical and rock and metal world, for sure.
100%. The amount of skill I think that it
definitely.
takes to... I don't know, that was always the dividing line with like punk rockers and stuff. Like I have a guitar, but I could learn every song on that album in the afternoon or whatever.
Yeah.
Playing really faster. And all my friends that can play metal, you don't really blossom. The flower doesn't really bloom until you're much older, because you have to sit in your room for hours and hours on end,
so
because like those guys are incredibly
whereas
talented.
punk rock is such a cheerful...
You just
it's
more
yell
about the
the
community.
government 100%. And you just jump around.
Or your girl or whatever.
Yeah,
exactly. It's a lot more fun.
Exactly.
Police.
There's levels too.
Version of punk rock.
I know. It's
some
pretty
of it's
good.
like
Pretty
a
good.
little bit like hardcore, and there's a big umbrella because there's ska there as well, right? So there's room for everybody.
There's room for us all.
Absolutely.
But that's what I love about punk rock is like, because my friends at school had like a teenage punk rock band.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
they
fun.
Just jump straight into it,
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I've studied music.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like I'm gonna do exactly what NoFX is doing. I'm gonna do exactly what Rancid is doing. Like whichever 5 bands or whatever that you can kind of go. I think everybody kind of starts out there.
How many chords do I need, guys?
You need 3 and an attitude, and you're good to go.
3 and a bad attitude.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Anyway, I just like wept, and he was like, "You're right, man." Like he was like quite. I think he thought that maybe like I got a text like your mom's dead, or I don't know, like. But everybody was just like, he was
by
like,
the music.
I mean, it's still like the date still went okay, but I think he was quite thrown. Like
Tears.
I was having another spiritual experience.
I don't know, like when I
course,
see,
yeah.
so music hits me like that, so I'm kind of saying, fuck this guy, because
live
if I was
music.
standing next to somebody that I was at an
it didn't work out. It didn't work out in the end.
But I was
Yeah,
at an
yeah.
Aerosmith cover band, and I was there with a girl that was losing her fucking mind, and I was like, this is cool. I'm not my band, but like how
people
cool.
are attractive.
Exactly.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I think so. Anyway, that was my concept. But because you guys obviously run a music podcast. I probably should have asked this, I don't know, before but you obviously are passionate about music, like.
Yeah.
You play,
I
like,
definitely grew up.
I mean, I
listening.
play very poorly, but my entire life, I'm kind of a similar story to you, actually. My dad took me to a Green Day show when I was like 12, right? So we didn't
Nice.
really know each other very well.
They don't want to be an American.
Well,
Is
that was
it?
much before. No, it was like
That's-
Nimrod, so like Time of Your Life was just coming
Right.
out and stuff like that, right? They were
Okay.
still kind of, a punk band for most parts, right? But this is like, they definitely blew the doors open, right?
Yeah,
So at that time, I would come down here like once a summer to visit my dad. So he doesn't really know what to do with the kids at this point or whatever, right? This
And
is
now
the
you
time when-
associate music with fatherly love.
100%, because he's gone to so many shows with me, and once like it became very clear that I was gravitating towards punk rock, it was no problem, because it was like Pennywise and Dropkick Murphys the next year.
Yeah.
Me and my dad have probably
So
seen
he was
Dropkick
like a
Murphys like 100
cool
times.
dad.
Cool
Still
dad,
is.
yeah.
He's
Hence the
shit.
fact he didn't live with you guys.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
like, dude,
Contributes
I've
to
got
it.
He's
Yeah.
like,
movies to bang.
I'm coming out of rehab, and I'm sorry. So do you want to go have some fun for the summer? And I'm like, fuck yeah.
He's like,
get me out
this
of-
I can do.
Yeah, get me out of this small
yeah.
fucking town. And he has cool stories and
Yeah.
shit, because I'm from the woods where like nothing there is really.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a skateboard and like blue hair or something. Like I'm not getting along or whatever. But I'd come
Yeah.
out here. And I'm like, I like this band Social Distortion. And my dad's like, oh
So
my
he
God,
lived in
I did.
Vancouver?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So he would go, oh, that, I've so many stories of that band that is huge now when they did this little club
And
and
you'll
that
be
little
like,
club.
yes, tell me.
I
like,
soak up all of that stuff. I'm fascinated by it. Old show flyers.
Yeah.
Jack has watched me flip through a book at your grandparents' house about just like English show flyers from like the 70s and 80s and stuff like that. And I was in there for hours. Like there's something
These
about it.
broken home stories can be real romances now.
Yeah.
They really are.
I
It's-
met my
Yeah.
dad. He was cool.
He's
Yeah.
the shit. We had a bit of a relationship
It was
before that,
connection
but
at first sight.
yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
Well, that was the thing. Is like
Yeah.
the relationship was definitely there, but it was very much like very.
Yeah.
It changed
Yeah.
immediately once we had that thing together.
That's
Right.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get long music with your pops too, like that.
Yeah. My dad's a huge music fan,
Yeah.
and so I grew up listening to classic rock, and it was just like kind of always
Like,
playing.
what was his?
Bob Dylan is like his.
Bob Dylan's
his
my
guy.
dad's biggest.
Really?
So my
Oh
dad,
God.
like, oh my God, as a kid, I actually have memories of my dad like throwing me up in the air to Bob Dylan.
Same,
Aw.
literally
What's
same.
with the
yeah,
throw?
right,
Do you-
right. It's not music
And
that
it's
like
quite
you would think
exhilarating
facilitates
too,
a
yeah.
throw, but
I think
yeah,
some of the first tunes I sort of imbibed were like, how
Yes.
many roads must a man
yeah,
walk?
My favorite joke that my dad
Oh,
tells
it's
is if you want to hear the best Bob Dylan song, then you listen to anybody else sing a Bob Dylan song.
I saw Bob Dylan live with my dad.
yeah. So did
But
I.
it- yeah.
Underwhelming
Yeah,
from what
yeah.
I've heard.
What?
It was it good? Because everybody
Yes,
that I've
I-
met that's seen Bob Dylan, I was incredibly underwhelmed.
Even my
yeah.
dad was like, and my dad like
Yeah.
has my dad's life is Bob like.
Yeah.
And then my
yeah.
dad was like, well, you know, his voice is a little worn out now.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't
But
get
it
on
was
the guy. I mean, how
fun.
old is he? Like, I mean, give him
He's
credit
in
for
his
everything that he's
80s,
done.
Yeah, and like
Wrote all
yeah,
along the Watchtower
his
stuff.
concerts
Yeah.
are definitely like hit or miss. I was lucky
Yeah.
the one we went to, he was like really good. But yeah, my
the
dad's
drugs were just kicked in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad's been to so many Bob Dylan concerts, and
Yeah.
he's definitely like spent a lot of money on tickets for
Your
like a
mom
shitty
had
concert.
that we were driving with
yeah.
your mom the other day, and she's, I'm gonna butcher the story, but yeah, apparently she told him like, don't waste your money. I don't want to go to the show, and he spent
Yeah.
hundreds of dollars on these tickets multiple times. She's
Yeah,
like, fucking, I'm not
front-
gonna enjoy
front
it.
row
I'm
tickets
good. I'm
every
not
time,
good.
like expecting her to have a life-changing experience.
Like, anything after 65, his voice is
Yeah.
gone.
She's
Honestly,
I
like
still
I like
don't
the
like it.
freewheeling. I like that first record, and like the rest of it is like you have to point me to the hits because
Yeah.
I listen to
Right.
the
I would
album.
say
all the way
Still
through.
a
freewheeling's-
hit girl. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
So my dad, like, after I moved out of home, we had this beautiful thing where he would make me CDs,
Mm-hmm.
like mixes of different Bob Dylans from different eras.
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah.
knows I like the love songs. So he
Yeah,
made me
yeah.
like the, love songs from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And by the 90s, he's like, I'm walking
Yeah,
through streets that are dead.
Yeah.
But in
Yeah,
and that's his love song for that one.
Yeah,
but in the
yeah,
early
yeah.
days, like Ramona is actually one of my all-time favorites. You know Ramona?
No.
Ramona. Oh my gosh. Come closer, shut softly your watery eyes.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah, yeah.
pangs of your sadness will pass as your spirit will rise. I mean, he sings it much worse, of course. But
Yeah.
but there's such beautiful, like, your cracked country lips I still wish to kiss, as to be by the strength of your skin.
Yeah, I mean,
So beautiful.
See, a
The
better
lyrics
song,
are
like,
the
my God,
lyrics
like,
are
yeah,
amazing.
And
absolutely.
and one that I always think when I'm walking around the city too, like I love with poetry how it can just stick in your mind and then you can overlay it onto the world. Like the flowers of the city, though death-like, get breath-like at times. No, though breath-like, get death-like at times. It's the other way around.
yeah.
But it's so many beautiful like. But yeah, the
When that clicks,
Wow.
it's
Yeah,
the
and
chills up your spine. It's that moment where like art kind
Yeah.
of meets life or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's
And
Yeah,
that's
I love
like
that.
with
I
his
think that's the
music
reason that I still
too.
listen
Like
to it.
every
Yeah.
line is like so like carefully crafted.
I
and
don't
it's so-
agree. I think he
Yeah.
just wakes up and is like.
That's what it is.
No, but there's that famous
Yeah.
story I was remembering the other day where it's almost like it's gone into mythology, but I think it did happen with Leonard Cohen and Bob Dylan,
Yeah.
and they met up together, and Bob Dylan, I'm trying to think which is a better joke, which way I put them round. Yes, so Bob Dylan
Sounds
goes
like a
to.
factual story
I haven't
that you
figured
heard
it
Yeah,
out.
we're
I haven't figured it
workshopping
out.
here.
No, it is a factual story. But Leonard Cohen says to Bob Dylan, I'll do it this way. Bob Dylan says to Leonard Cohen, no, Bob Dylan says to Leonard Cohen, I'm like, which is funny, and my comedy brain's like,
Yeah.
yeah. I think this way, where he's like, Leonard Cohen says to Bob Dylan, I love your song, One More Cup of Coffee for the Road. Like, how long did it take you to write that, And he was like, oh, like a day, 2 days. And he said to Leonard Cohen, I love Hallelujah. How long did it take you to write that? And he's like, best part of 10 years.
Yeah.
I have
But
heard
Bob
that.
Dylan
Yeah,
has
yeah.
that punk rock thing, I think.
Totally.
Yeah.
Where
yeah.
he rolls. I mean, he's so prolific.
Totally.
He
yeah.
kind of rolls out of bed and's like, blah, 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 blah. All right, I'll do it tonight.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? Whereas I think Leonard Cohen is a very tortured.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah, it's gonna take a lot
yeah.
more
He
work.
labors
Yeah.
over every word
I-
type
I-
thing. Yeah.
I think each line does have a certain part. I mean, some not. I mean, have you heard his Christian stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man
I
gave
can't-
names to all the animals.
Oh
yeah.
my
I
God,
can't say
no.
that really
Yeah.
resonates
But
with
he
me.
has,
But
has
yeah.
such a from folk to rock to.
He has such like a varied career.
For
you
sure.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just sort of following his heart. Like the famous
Exactly.
concert. I mean,
Mhm.
it sounds sounds like you had a similar dad.
Yeah.
Whereas someone he first switched to rock.
I was gonna say
someone
where you
yelled
brought
out
out
Lucifer.
the yeah.
It's like I don't believe. I mean, it's such a.
That's in the movie. What's the film where there's 5 different actors playing?
and
Kate
Kate
Blanchett is
Blanchett's one of
fucking
them.
amazing.
Yeah, that's
so good.
I mean, it's a very.
That's
it's probably in
the
all
Todd
movies,
Haynes
right?
movie. I
Oh,
forget what
it's well, regardless when that moment hits,
No Direction Home.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
I think
It's
so.
called No
Yeah.
Direction Home,
Yeah.
When that moment kind of hits in his career, that is, kind of defines his like a punk rock sensibility of like, no, fuck you, I'm gonna do what I want to do, right? But like alienating your entire fan base, that's like
that is rock and roll.
that is the shit.
Yeah.
There's a band, Propaganda, that is Winnipeg's like greatest punk rock band, and they have a song called Anti Manifesto on their first album. That is basically like laugh and dance and play, ignore the message we convey. It seems we're only here to entertain, and it's just basically fuck you to the audience or whatever, right? That's kind of like you're listening to. I like this band, but it's like fuck me. But no, like if you're gonna take it seriously,
I respect an artist that's not too grovelly towards, and same with comedy, same with acting.
Yeah,
if you're trying to please, it's something like I think Nirvana. I was listening to a podcast recently about how they actually became concerned about some of their fans. They were like, we don't actually like some of these douchebags or whatever they call them.
The fans when fans ruin the band, it's a bummer.
Yeah, and I think they were like, no, we actually want these kind of people, and we want like, and it was cool for me to be like, man, Nirvana, Kurt Cobain had so much artistic integrity.
Yeah.
Totally.
Absolutely.
So much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's still stained on the wall, but I think they've it's undeniable. Everything, like when you have somebody with that much integrity, then what they're gonna do, because like, you can kind of see like where that road led to.
And he was ahead. He was ahead of the curve with the rock and roll. I mean, he wasn't. He was. The Christian thing didn't take off. But
that was an interesting detour
I don't know,
in his
even
career.
going back to like what you said about how quick that he writes that stuff, I gravitate towards so many artists unintentionally that when you hear them speak, they're going, well, no, like if it's not good immediately, and honestly, the way that I write jokes, like if I have to labor over something in a Leonard Cohen kind of way, then it's
like
wordy, it's over, it's ballooned, right? But the best stuff that I have comes like immediately.
I think both have their place.
Yeah.
Was what I would say.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I would say a lot of the jokes and a lot of the best jokes that pop for me have just come straight in and straight out, and I haven't had to touch them. But then there's bits now that are like a firm part of my set that I love, that, I started with the premise and I worked and I added punches here and there. I still added those punches somewhat organically. I didn't sit down with a list and be like, how can I? Sometimes I'll do that as an exercise. And then 5 hours later it'll pop into your head.
You've thought about it so much.
But still, the jokes that come through whole, you're like, ugh.
I don't know. I don't know if they're the best, but they're the ones that I like the most. You know what I mean? And I like start out like, especially like one-liners, something quick like that. But the ones that you have to really build out that takes.
And now they're sort of looking at that more on creativity in terms of like, because I think I've always done that, even as a kid when I'd write poems or stories or whatever. It was I would always walk to school. And it was like 40 minutes, but I would do it even though there was other options, because I was like, that's my time where I like roll.
Totally.
Where I like actively daydream and flow and
Totally.
But I think I think all things kind of work, but I definitely think that is a good way of doing it. It just
just seeing like what comes out. And I think the more, if you also like get in a practice of writing regularly, then things will kind of pop into your head more, because you're letting the creativity flow more, and you're kind of more in
like
that.
You might write for a bit and nothing happens, and then later on you'll be like, oh, this. Or when
There's
you're on
days
stage,
I'll write
you'll say
nothing.
something.
Exactly.
And you'll be like, oh, I'm keeping that.
But like getting in the habit though, because there's days you could open that computer however you want to do it, and you'll just painstakingly come up with nothing over the over that allotted time that you give yourself to do, and then some days you can write like entire sets in that thing, right? So I think
I think a big thing as well is not kind of is when I've written something that when I have had to say, okay, and I have had to sit down, look at my set and say, hey, this bit's good, but this bit here really needs a better punchline. And that's when you're sitting down. And I think for me in that situation, it was like, well, what's true?
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes when you're writing a joke, you're thinking what's funny.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to think, or you've like, oh, I've written this clever thing, but it's like, does it ring true to you? Does it ring? So it was a sort of a joke about being stoned or whatever, and it was like doing, and I was like, what's like an actual true thing?
Right. Yeah.
That like. And then that worked. So But I think it's like sometimes I think when we're trying to write something, it's like, well, I'm going to be funny,
Yeah, you get too in your head about it.
But I think sometimes when something comes from your subconscious, it's because it's a true thing that's happened to you. And then other people are like, oh yeah,
When you're writing, do you ever have to kind of break some? I'm working with a couple things right now that it's ballooning out into like more of a manifesto than it is, you know what I mean, actual bits or whatever. So finding the funny in like, I don't know, I like darker, heavier kind of stuff. So then finding the silliness around that, and really trying to think of how am I going to get them with it, right? Because this might be like cathartic and therapeutic for me, and should I just scrap this, or is this a writing exercise for what it is? But if I still believe that some of the stuff is in there, like trying to find the funny in that.
I think it's good to like get it out, because I was doing that with the bit that I was working on for a long time that I didn't do until like this week, and it was very very dark at first because it was like very real, and it took me a long time to like actually find like the funny and like the silly in it, but I had to like go through like writing it all out and then being like, oh my god, I cannot say this on stage. Like,
you've had the silly in it for like 2 months. It's been fucking funny, and I'm glad that it's out there. It's awesome. I love it.
I mean, it's a bit of a cliche that people hold, but they're like, you know, like the sad clown or darkness and it causes. But I mean, I think that's a genuinely accepted thing. I remember in drama school we had someone come in teach us about kind of like devising, and she'd toured. Her name was Deb, and she'd toured this like incredible show around the world about her dad, who was a Holocaust survivor, and like his experiences.
So super light stuff, fun for the family.
But she was like, it was super fun. Like, it was super fun. Like, she made it funny, and she said he would also make jokes with the guards, and that was his way of surviving. You know?
Okay,
so it was like this incredible thing, and then it was like the exercise then was like for creating our own pieces was like telling like, which is, I don't know, maybe not a good idea to do in drama school because I don't really like it when classes do that, but when you share like one of the most difficult things you've been through and then you turn it into a funny kind of device, and it often I mean you know what we're saying is all pretty cliched and gone over and over, but you do need humor in difficult times.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, totally.
And I think Chris read something really interesting over the lockdown, which is kind of stuck in my mind. I can't remember the exact quote, but it was like something about, I can't remember what the other people had, but it was like, you know, rich people, they focus on networking or relationships, or, you know, these people, and it's like poor people comedy. But there is something about like struggle or difficulty or whatever that like comedy seems to just sort of arrive and be like, hey,
and how else do you get through
the only
it?
thing that you're gonna get is like, you know, like we can give you food and we can give you a hard time. You know what I mean? So like that's the because
and we can make you laugh.
Yeah, exactly. In that sense, right? Like, I mean, you can come here and like we don't have everything to offer you or whatever, but what you're gonna get is, you know, is that love. Of course, right? And a hot plate, hopefully.
Yeah, and I think there's something in that, like, you know, a lot of, I mean, obviously, you know, it's everyone can be funny coming from any place, you know. And Seinfeld is a high-profile example of someone that grew up
it's the classic
very
example.
wealthy, who's, you know, hilarious.
Yeah, and who doesn't seem to have any, like, sort of issues at all.
Ever,
Just rich, handsome guy telling jokes out here. I don't think it's a prerequisite. I think comics can get caught up on, like, you know, or they've got a sort of a thing on their shoulder of like, well, I had it mean, so I'm better or whatever. You know, and I think it's like, I think anyone can tell jokes, but I love, one of the things I love, which, you know, always gets me into trouble, is I love generalizations because they're interesting. You know, when you're like, oh, in general, these people behave like that. And I do a lot of jokes that are generalizations. Like in general, men do this, you know. But I'm also at the point where, like, saying the other day to 10, I was like, man, I feel like I've been possessed by the ghost of like an 80s hack comic because I've been writing all these jokes like women are like, huh? Men are like, huh? And like I don't know where they're coming from, but I'm just like, I literally was like, man, I've got like 3 new jokes where I'm like, you know, when a guy's trying, you know, like
fuck that, fashion is cyclical, comedy is cyclical, it's gonna come back, we're gonna start doing Don Rickles and shit up there, it's gonna be awesome.
We're in an age too where we're actually redefining gender and letting go of gender. I'm like, hey, men are from Mars, you know.
But
you
honestly,
know what's true about
we're
men.
trying to get away from it, but the jokes still work because it still rings true in everybody's head. You know what I mean?
Exactly. There's a way to do it.
Stuff, and I was like, what do you think? And she's like, I like it when women do jokes about men like this. So I was like, all right. Like, but I think if I just mention something, you know, like, that just, you know, like anyone that identify, or male identifying. Or female
Yeah,
identifying,
yeah,
you know, like,
exactly.
you know, once you identify as this, you're in on this problem.
Yeah,
That's a good-
yeah, that's a
fuck
good,
yeah.
yeah,
I
that's a
think
good
that's
angle.
the
Yeah,
angle because I'm like, man, this is really, you know, when you write a new joke that's already dated, like, and I do that a bit.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I've been writing.
No, but
this
I think
bit.
you got around now. Now you
Yeah,
have something bigger to go into.
Because
Right?
Yeah.
I wrote a bit about Pet Cemetery, and I was like, you know, Pet, and I was like, this is one of those situations where I write a joke about a movie that came out a few years ago, and everyone will think it's an old joke,
Yeah.
but I only just wrote it. I can do that a bit. Like, I'll be like, oh man, you know, like, and I think it's because I watch movies later. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I've been
yeah.
watching nothing but like 80s and 90s action movies and stuff, and I've been like,
Yeah.
and writing a lot. Like we just had, or I just did like this roast or whatever. With, like I have to write like 35 jokes in a week or something like that. So I'm just constantly thinking about all this stuff. So when I want to get away from it, I'm watching these
And
movies,
then that's
and
gonna flow in.
it fucking
Yeah.
flows in. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that in Terminator 2 when they're dunking him into the molten steel and he's going down, his hand is up, and he like gives a thumbs up at the end, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is
Hasta
how-
la
funny,
vista,
yeah.
baby.
Exactly, right? And you forget that like those are the lines that I loved
Yeah.
as a kid, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this is pulling me out. Or we watched The Babadook, and
Oh,
like,
yeah.
if you know, do you know who King? It's
Yeah.
but The Babadook is just like, I don't know, it's scary.
It's like a newer horror movie. Yeah,
and it's
pretty
frightening
good.
until they show the ghost, and he looks like King Diamond. Like if you do basically like an Edward Scissorhands version of this guy with like Kiss face paint. He's a rocker or whatever. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
sucks because he's like it's like jazz hands, and it's absolutely
It's
terrible.
supposed to be this like
I
horrifying
miss
character.
those Wild West days of movies though, where it was like they were quite crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we were talking like well, Texas Chainsaw is like her favorite, right? Like it's
That's your favorite movie?
Not my favorite
No.
movie. My favorite horror movie. Yeah,
That's
it's
good to say,
so
right?
good though. Like it's
Yeah.
so beautifully shot. Like it's just nice
I mean,
to
I
watch.
believe you.
Yeah.
I do. It's not.
I immediately get
I-
defensive.
I'm probably not gonna. No need to get.
No, it's all good. I like Scream. That's the horror stuff that I like to go
That's
for.
kind of a
Yeah,
funny one.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the ghosty kind of Stephen Kingy psychological.
Okay, yeah,
Like I
yeah.
love The Shining.
Totally.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I find ghosts really, and I always
Yeah.
love there to be like a historical backstory. Like
Yeah.
200 years ago, people died in this hotel.
Hell
Yeah,
yes.
like the
Like,
element
that's
of
my-
truth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Whereas the ones that are just like the kind of the torture porn ones,
You're into that shit? I can't stand
But no
those ones.
judgment.
Yeah.
No.
Well, like because in Texas Chainsaw, like you don't really see a lot of the horrific stuff because
Right.
it's like
Yeah, the
so
later
old.
iterations
It's like
did all
it
that.
wasn't. Yeah, because now like slasher films are just like brutal to watch. Like I don't like that shit at all.
Because it's
But,
gotten
like,
them
yeah.
to up the ante. They keep
Exactly,
being
totally.
like, we can do more like insane.
Well, even in like
Exactly,
in
yeah.
Halloween in the first one, the scariest part of is the suspense when she's hiding in the closet and he's coming. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They were really great at doing it then, and now I
Yeah.
think it's like an like Hostel. You're cutting Achilles tendons, like you're watching
Yeah.
it happen, and like
And it's not like scary. It's just gross.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
it's like Hitchcock's old thing that anything off screen is going to be 1,000 times scarier than anything you show
Once
the
you
audience.
see
Yeah.
it, you're like, oh yeah, it's just a ghost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Until you've seen it, you're like, what?
There's like
Exactly.
techniques too, and like
Yeah.
watching, it's like showing somebody see the violence, like all those like little techniques
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
Those are the things that really stick with you, right? I think I don't know.
I thought it was amazing.
It changed my life when I was a
Yeah.
young boy at my brother's birthday. We watched American Werewolf in London.
Right.
Still love.
So good. Yeah.
It-
Yeah.
Right afterwards, 2 VHS in a room full of like
Yeah.
older kids. So, like I just had to be, I got to be cool
Yeah.
and sit through this thing. And I'm not fuck Tim Curry, fuck Stephen, fuck all of that. Like it ruined me for clowns for like a long time.
Yeah,
I know it
yeah.
actually.
I watched when I was
it
16
may
with my girlfriend. Like
well-
I can do this now. I
It
can
may
do this.
well have affected the career that is clowning.
Yeah.
'Cause a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
kids are like, I
Oh,
don't
It's
like
so
clowns.
true.
I'm scared of clowns.
Yeah.
Because clowns have kind of gone. But I mean, in fairness,
John
clowns-
Wayne Gacy and it. Like you think like
Yeah.
they'll put like
They
a
had
bad
a bit of a
taste.
clowns were ripe
resurgence.
to be creepy though.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I
It
don't
was,
think
yeah.
they just took an objectively fun thing. You
Yeah.
know? I think like clowns, and it is quite an old-fashioned thing. So it is quite an old
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, and it's kind of
Because
weird.
they were around in the
It's-
19th century, you know.
Yeah.
And the white face paint and
And
the.
there was
Yeah,
that
oh,
like
totally, right, but-
resurgence of clowns like a few years back when people were just
Yeah.
walking around dressed as clowns, and it was like I
Yeah.
just don't like it. Like just
Yeah.
seeing it, it's just it's
Yeah,
a little
taken
bit
on
yeah,
like a new form, right? Like when
Yeah,
you're a kid,
yeah.
like that is the symbol of like happiness and laughter and silly. Like I'm almost like the
Yeah.
like Charlie Chaplin fall down kind of like
Yeah,
silly comedy
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But
And that's done now.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I would never.
I'd
Could you-
never hire a
Every time I
clown.
think of a clown, I think of like a overweight dude in like a stained, muscle shirt, smoking a cigarette behind like a tent. You know what I mean? Like that's not. There's nothing.
It's
You can see
sad,
the sadness behind it.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
was-
Yeah.
There's great clowning schools in France, and like there's like Lecoq, it's actually cool. But there's all these amazing. but it is.
You can go to the Cock and learn how to clown.
Yeah,
That's
it is
awesome.
sad though.
Yeah.
It is sad though because
is,
it is
yeah.
an incredible art form that we
Yeah,
have
yeah,
sort of
that's
that
lost,
has been kind
yeah.
of tarnished, and because there are like true clowns that are good at it. Like it's an amazing. It's like losing mime or losing like it was
Yeah.
an old art form that had a brilliance and a beauty to it. That is
Totally.
like
Yeah.
that has become somewhat perverted through the horror genre and kind of and then there was that clown shooter like 5 years back in the States, right?
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
mean is that there was like this resurgence of people, just dressing as clowns,
Yeah.
like just
And murdering.
and
Yeah,
murdering
using
people.
something,
Yeah.
using something great for evil, and I think that's Can
Yeah.
it come back? Has
Can-
that happened?
are
to any other
clowns
art form?
cyclical?
Like, is
Yeah.
anything?
I mean,
Well,
art
'cause
forms
it's-
do cycle out.
Yeah.
But it is. It's like I think maybe that time when that came around, that was around the death of the clown.
Yeah. Because I'm
Fascinating.
thinking, when was like John Wayne Gacy? When was he like active?
I want to say late 80s, early 90s. Am I wrong? I don't know.
something
Off the
like
top of
that.
my head.
Yeah.
I mean, I have all the books, but I forget all the dates.
Yeah, and I think like after, but I guess clowns already kind of had like a creepy reputation at that point.
Yeah, but I think that
Yeah.
but you have to
Anything
kind
where
of
you
take
get
the
to wear a
zeitgeist in
mask.
the
Exactly.
Well, yeah, but
yeah.
like in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, when serial killing, I mean, there were so many ones that were so
Yeah,
prolific,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
that Casey stands out so much further because of the horrific young boys. He's a clown
Yeah.
hiding them under the house, and everything like that. That
Yeah.
is such a horrific case
Yeah.
that you can't. He's gonna fuck
How
that
do you
up for everybody.
culturally go back from that?
Yeah,
can't,
yeah,
Like,
right?
you're ruining it for all the clowns.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right? You see a
yeah.
Los Angeles Lakers jersey,
Yeah.
you think Kobe fucking Bryant 100% of the time,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And that's for good, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for worse, now you see a clown
See
and you
clown,
think
you're like this fucking
Tim
creep.
Curry, John Wayne Gacy,
Yeah.
fucking like not fun, or
Yeah, or it.
Yeah,
That
or
sucks.
it. Yeah.
But it had such a cool psychological message
It's-
too.
it's
Where it's
fa-
like
it's
it's
awesome
your
now.
fear and like.
Yeah.
And the other one that was great was the Sleepy Hollow was so rad.
I didn't see
With
it.
Johnny
I haven't
Depp.
I haven't
Did you guys
seen
watch
it.
that?
No,
Mm-mm.
no.
No, the Headless Horseman.
I have no idea that
I
they
don't
did.
think
I've
I
seen
haven't
that like
it.
the.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the cartoon was great when I was a kid, but I didn't know they ever did like
No,
anything
they did
live
Sleepy
action.
Hollow, they did him,
Oh,
and then they
okay.
did a series, Sleepy Hollow.
Oh,
Oh,
crazy.
shit.
But it was like Stars, I think. No, I think it was like Fox actually that did it, but it was
Okay.
good. Like
Nice.
it wasn't like.
No,
Yeah,
Fox
yeah,
were
yeah.
doing
Now
The
you're a
Simpsons. They're not
Republican,
fucking-
you know,
No.
it was like-
Yeah,
it was
yeah. They
chill.
made some
Yeah,
good
it was a
shows.
good
Yeah,
series.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Anyway, so System of a Down, and
Yeah.
This is what we do. This is
Yeah.
what we do. We rarely stay on
start
topic.
and then we
Yeah.
flow like a river. Well, we've hit the
Flow
main
like a
points,
river.
you know.
Yeah.
We hit it.
Well, yeah, exactly, right? Something that we were talking about is getting into this kind of music. Was there like Metallica? Was it heavy music? Was it the political side of it? Like, were you like Rage Against the Machine coming in, or were
Yeah.
like Metallica coming in, or where did
Coming in, so I came
Yeah.
in through System.
you? No shit.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Okay,
came in
yeah.
through System. So I was like,
Chop
so
Suey, like I'm sorry, but those every single on this
yeah.
album
So
was
Chop Suey
massive.
is still my karaoke song.
Oh yeah. Oh
It's
my
a
god,
real
that is
crowd
amazing.
pleaser. It's a real-
Yeah.
It's a real crowd pleaser. It's a real crowd pleaser. This tea's getting me wasted. It's a real and in Vancouver too, because when you turn up at a Vancouver karaoke night, and
Yeah.
you know, and the Radiohead songs gone. You know,
Right.
everyone and their dog is like, I wish I was
It's,
pregnant.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
I want to
And I'm
strangle
like, damn,
everybody with
because
a cord. Yeah.
actually that's but to be
Yeah.
fair, it's
People
just
have done great versions
It's
of it.
just a
It's a
great
good
karaoke song.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly.
So I was like, well, I
lends
had that
itself
That's a
to it.
there.
bummer. It should be a party. Like there should be a list of no, you can't do. Like
Yeah.
Stairway,
No
fucking this
downers.
one,
It is
like-
fun to
Yeah.
sing, and like girls can sing it if you're
Yeah.
into rock. It's like an
Yeah.
easier, like it's easy to sing. But so I do Chop Suey.
Mm-hmm.
So
Awesome.
which a lot of
That's
that is just
awesome.
me being like, wake up, go brush, put a little makeup. Let's go to the makeup. What do you think on the devil? You want to do? Go brush, put a little makeup. You want to do?
have you ever had anybody doing backup for you?
No.
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying.
Gotta bring it. Yeah.
Into your
Turn
hands
into a whole
I commend my
production.
spirit.
Why have you forsaken me?
In your eyes forsaken me. In your arms forsaken me. I can't really do the screaming, and I don't try. I think a younger me would have tried.
Yeah.
But years of like vocal warm ups in the morning and doing plays, and I'm like, I ain't wrecking my voice for it.
No,
Yeah,
I got buddies
that's
that
good.
do it
Yeah,
in bands, and like less is more. You would like it's more of a trick than anything, right? There's some people that can like. I've been at shows where the mic has gone out and the guy's like, "Fuck it," and you're just like, "Oh, dude, you should not be doing this."
Yeah.
And there's the very famous karaoke guy in Vancouver. I don't know if your audience. Well, I mean, it's been the pandemic. He's probably not been around.
Yeah.
But he's this amazing character. He would be the 12 Kings one. The karaoke one they do. And he's like sort of metal. Mm-hmm. And he does all these incredible like metal, and he does all the screams and all the sings and all the long notes.
Oh, yeah.
And he just like crushes. Like people come to see him. There's been like Vice articles about him and stuff.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
crazy.
like, and he was there, so he'll often like headline the karaoke, you know,
yeah.
like they'll
Oh my
put him
God,
on, like
that's
he'll
awesome.
go up twice at the end, he'll like bring it home, and he'll like he'll do like Maynard, like he'll kill, like he'll just
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
and then he speaks only in like Old English.
Oh.
So I like sat and chatted to him, and he's like, "Thou didst sing a goodly song from the notable works of System of a Down." You know? And then he drinks tea for his throat, for his voice.
Is this
And
an
there
actor? Is this that
No,
man?
this is a real person.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
and
That's
this is
awesome,
his
yeah.
real life.
Oh my God,
And
that's
this
amazing.
is who, but it's sort of, in a way, it represents that sort of, there's such crossover, like, we're talking about horror stuff, and there's real crossover, there's real nerds into metal and rock.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And
Of
there's
course.
real crossover in, like, people that are into medieval
Yep.
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
and people that are into, like, rock and metal.
This episode is coming
Yeah.
out after Robert Pang's episode, and Robert Pang brought us in a very
like it was like a
Sabaton-
Swedish metal band that was like very much
it was all historical. There's
all historical, yeah, all based on
Sparta
like
and all
war
this kind of stuff.
stories
There's a lot
and
of
shit
nerds
like
in
that.
it, you know?
Yeah,
Oh, big time,
yeah,
big time.
yeah.
Yes, and he's like, and thus does get my throat prepareth, you know, like. Yeah, I was like, I'm a bit of a Shakespeare fan myself.
Yeah.
Like if I was single,
you and me, pal.
I mean, you're a little strange.
Yeah.
But I dig it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
right.
it's cool. So it was like, so go there. So yeah, I'll do my chops. So, but yeah, the album. That was my so I got a big brother. He's 4 years older.
Okay,
So
yeah.
he got it.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
he was getting, but he was also that nerd cross. We're both super into like just went into the Green Knight with Chris.
Mm-hmm.
We're both super into like medieval. He would play Warhammer.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes,
build
yeah.
all the
Yeah.
tables
Totally,
and stuff,
yeah.
and a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of like artists. It's that whole kind of scene of like. It's actually really funny when I was watching Letterkenny, and it was like the rock people were like saying all this like political factual stuff, and then they were like, yeah. And I was like. It's funny because it is kind of true.
Totally.
It's there,
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there is
yeah.
that certain, like, you know, like, we're going to quote Bukowski. It is a little bit pretentious,
Totally.
but
Yeah.
there is that, like,
But you're
Yeah.
also
and
like
they
a kid,
sent
like
it
kind
up.
of like finding yourself and shit like that.
Yeah,
like
you're finding yourself, so you
yeah.
are going to be pretentious.
Totally.
You are like, I identify as a communist now, and also
Yeah.
I'm listening to this cool new album
When
about fighting the system.
Yeah,
When I found
yeah.
Bad Religion and like Richard Dawkins at the same time. I was
Yeah.
like, all of you are dumb. You know
Yeah,
what
you're
I
like,
mean, right?
I know.
Yeah, I'm evolved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got the higher insight.
Yeah. And there's like an older punk that's
You
like 10 years
fucking
older.
have
than
You
like,
keep
oh,
trying
dude,
at
you'll
school.
figure it out.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
keep
that's
sucking
cute.
the man's dick.
Yeah, yeah.
You do
Fucking
you.
sheeple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm kind of still a little. Oh no, I don't. Nothing's really
You're like,
changed.
actually, I haven't changed.
Yeah.
I found the light early.
Yeah, I get it. But no, so it was like very, and I remember I heard the album and it was straight away like, and I think I'm still like that with music. I'll hear like you know, and now obviously my music taste is more varied, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so as a kid, I grew up playing. My mom played the piano and a few instruments, so I played the piano and I studied like with Royal Schools music, so I did all the grades and like
okay,
right through
wow.
school.
Yeah.
So I was into classical music
Right.
already for that.
Mhm.
And then when I heard System of a Down, it was just because I don't know if I can feel when I listen to it now. I don't know if I'll ever get back to what I felt at 10 or 11 or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
But
yeah.
I just heard it and was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. You know,
There's
and I think
something
we had
there.
a pretty good sound system. Like I kind of grew up in on an island and kind of like a bush section, and we had a pretty good speaker, so Dad could, you know, play Bob Dylan on top of his,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, and
yeah.
scream
Wake
into
us
the
all
night.
up. Yeah.
Who am I?
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Knock, knock, knocking on.
You know, it was all going down. You know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, System was getting played more. And then, so I managed to get it from the CD, the Toxicity CD, you know, with the, because it was Steal This Album with The Hand and then Toxicity with the Hollywood Hills. Because Steal This Album was already out, but it didn't hit, and it never really hit. Like Spiders on there is good.
Thing.
I think it's track 4.
I know who this band is because that is the coolest thing that I'd ever seen.
Steal This Album?
Yeah, I have I collect.
Yeah.
I've been in so many CD stores, and when you see that, you're like, that is the most. It should be in the punk rock section. That is the most punk rock fucking thing anybody's ever done.
Steal This Album.
Yeah.
Yeah, like whoa, where did they? Anyway, so Toxicity, I burned it from the CD to a tape.
Yeah.
Okay.
Double-sided
Nice.
tape.
Nice.
So I could put it into my Walkman, which I had.
Oh
yeah, of course.
With my
We're the same age. We got a lot of similarities here. Yeah.
And then I would walk around like sort of on this island. It's such a beautiful, like, now I think of it, I'm like, man, it's like a paradise island now.
Right.
Like, it's like, white sand beaches, blue,
Wow,
like beautiful forest. And I would just walk around and around and around, just listening to this album on repeat, like just wowed, you know,
totally.
just into it, just being like, yeah, this totally speaks. A lot of it I didn't understand. Like, I think only recently I'm like, oh, a pogo stick, because that song Jump Bounce, I was like, I broke my pogo stick just to show a chick she had so many friends, and I had no idea what a pogo stick was, but I was like, at parties, I guess adults are jumping around on pogo sticks and then showing off to girls with them.
Check out my pogo stick.
Like, shit, so many friends. And then I think it was like years later, I saw a pogo. I don't think pogo sticks ever really took off. But
there was always a couple at school, like the couple like Dusty in the shed.
Yeah, we didn't really have them, I don't think, on the island they were on. But then I think I saw it, and I was like, oh, that's what he was. And then later on as a grandpa, I was like, so they were partying with those?
That's
weird. I don't know what's going down in the Armenian community of America.
Yeah.
You do you, guys.
Absolutely.
Community,
just
bouncing around.
But then there was
that
such
and acknowledging genocide. That's
that and worrying about the genocide.
Yeah.
Pogo sticks.
A lot of people
pogo sticks are up there.
But there's something but when you're 10 years old and something speaks to you, you don't have to really understand everything that's being said to you. But that's such a pivotal thing. Like when I was a kid, my mom was giving me tapes, but it was like Spice Girls and Backstreet Boys because that's what was popular when I'm 6 or 7, 8 years old or whatever. But then I went and saw Spawn.
You're like,
the
where's
movie.
my real dad? I think.
Well, exactly. Yeah, totally.
I
Right.
think he might have an idea.
That was the thing. I
Do you
came
remember
down
his
here.
name or?
Where can I find him?
What city you were in?
Well, he took me to Spawn, and in 1998, that movie was fucking awesome. And the soundtrack didn't have to be so goddamn hard, but they did that for the kids.
You know what?
So when I walked out of there, I said like, their HMV was on Robson, where Victoria's Secret is now. That used to be a giant HMV.
Yeah.
And I went in there, and they had like a big cardboard stand-up of Spawn and everything. Just came from the movie, and I was like, I want this soundtrack. So I was so badass. And I remember my dad being like, "This isn't that bubble gum shit that you're used to."
And you're like, "I don't want the bubble gum."
No.
Yeah.
Give me the tar.
Oh yeah, exactly. Right.
Give me to spite the pavement.
Totally,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because I am at a different level to my peers.
Totally. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm
right?
evolved.
You're starting to get it.
I'm busy fighting the system.
Yeah.
Totally.
Right here.
Well, I had to go back and I had to show everybody that like, okay, fuck all this shit. Exactly.
Yeah. I have the secrets.
Guys, I found something, and it's gonna change the world.
It's funny when you find out the meanings later.
Yeah, oh,
as
totally,
well.
yeah.
And the other ones, so one of my favorite songs on that track. Oh, actually, sorry, I had another thought when you said that.
So, yeah.
One of the movies I saw that just blew my mind. I was probably 15, and this is kind of embarrassing now because it was slammed. But Queen of the Damned.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys watch Queen of the Damned?
Could you refresh my memory because it sounds?
It's like about a vampire and he wakes up and starts a rock band.
Oh, this sounds
But
familiar.
the soundtrack was like insane. Like it was like all of the rock metal hits of the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember just being like, yeah.
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 I'm in.
Like,
I'm in.
Yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah.
But then all of my friends were like, oh, is that movie? It's so bad. And I was like,
Oh yeah.
But so it's like, it's funny when you understand the lyrics later. So
Totally.
one of my favorite, I think it was like track 11 on the album Toxicity, Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
It's like psycho, groupie,
Yeah.
cocaine, crazy,
Yeah.
psycho, groupie,
Yeah,
cocaine,
yeah,
crazy, psycho,
yeah.
groupie, go, makes you high, makes you high, makes you really want to go, go, psycho,
Yeah.
groupie, go. Yeah, makes you really wanna, and I love that part because I do love like the juxtaposition of the soft with the right. So it's like,
Yes.
and then it's like,
Yeah.
makes you really wanna. Actually, I really want to say that song now. Makes you really
we'll play it afterwards for sure.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful little bit.
Yeah.
but I didn't know what a psycho was, what a groupie was, what a cocaine was. Crazy? Yes.
Got that. Yeah.
It was like, I think I thought it was Grooey or something, or like, it was like Grooey, cocaine. And then but I got, because like back then you could unfold the CD insert and it had all the lyrics.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So I remember like being like, I gotta learn these, you know.
Yeah, you got
part of the manifesto.
Well, I've heard my little sister say, singing that song specifically when she was about 13, and she's much younger than I was. And at first I wanted to be like, hey,
it gets the kids.
And I'm just like, fuck, at the same time, it's like, oh, that's exactly what I did. And you're proud of her. You're like,
I think
finding the thing out.
I want to go back and look at that song. I feel like the groupie maybe kills herself or something. I don't know. But makes you really want to lose your mind or something, or fly in space or something. But then I was like, oh, and now I'm like, oh, I know what a groupie is and what cocaine is. So he's dealing with a psycho cocaine groupie, you know.
Yeah.
I get it. You know?
But then some people just have all the luck, you know.
But the waterfall one, I was like, I always got. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Life is a waterfall, duh. You know?
I get it. Yeah.
Life is not a highway. It's a waterfall.
We all know that.
Yeah. You have to lose your mind to find it all. Yeah. I think I know what that means. Yeah. You want the answers, but what's the question? Yeah. Like, I think I'm deep enough to get this one. Really want to find it all. And then they had that cool kind of they had that cool like acoustic track afterwards where it's like kind of like Armenian folk music, and it's I think it's like after Waterfall, and it's like.
There's, I mean, just unbelievably ballsy, I think, for a band in, that's kind of coming out around that time with like Korn and Limp Bizkit, because they were, I think, unfairly thrown into that like new metal like,
and
group
they're like,
or whatever.
This is not who we are, guys. We're just spiritual people.
Right. But
just
definitely
trying to change the system.
And they were I think the only one of that group. I mean, I'm sure like it got them like exposure and touring with like Slipknot and all these people or whatever. So like fantastic, but.
I also saw Slipknot live.
Oh, they're great. Their drummer just died. Joy Jordan.
I know. I heard about that. Yeah. I saw that.
But I don't know. They were just stand out because of that, right? And I think that there's something about a band that will do whatever like they feel is right, and they they'll stand with like was it like Fugazi and like Ian MacKaye and all them? They have these kind of morals, like they won't do the Rolling Stone. They want to do like an expose on the
stuff.
Because they will have like alcohol and tobacco ads and shit like that or whatever.
They're back together, right? And now they're all about just like raising awareness about what's going on in Armenia and like they're kind of. I mean, they've always been, but they've not been, and maybe they're a little bit of whatever. Or I was a little bit as when I was 10 or whatever. But they're nowhere near as pretentious as the likes of Tool or something like that.
No, my God, no.
You know, like they're also just like pizza, pizza, pizza pie every minute, every second, blah, 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 blah. You
totally.
know? Like they're not. I never got the feeling that they were like too cool for school. Like they were. They, like I said, you know, before when we came in and were chatting, they had that perfect blend of like a little bit of like punk rock kind of like whatever. Let's break some plates and just chill.
Yeah.
With that, like Serj is also a trained opera singer. And they've really got some serious rock chops.
Totally. Oh my God.
But without being too like waiting for a stocking butler.
Yeah.
You know, upon
like
I was never
don't
into
take
like
yourself
creepy.
Too seriously.
Yeah, never into creepy rock. Like
totally.
I love, and I think in all art, I love cheerful art.
Yeah.
Like I don't love anything that's going to be too deep or trippy or nihilistic. Or I'm like big names, big action. You know.
Absolutely.
I like a certain boldness and a certain. I mean, that's also my kind of creative sort of thumbprint to sound pretentious, but I like stuff that's just kind of bold and like I always, you know, I'll joke around. I could be like my archetype. Like I'm not the mysterious brunette at the bar that you're like, oh, why is she here? I'll be like, hello. What do you want to know? I'm like, that's not my archetype, you know.
Right.
But then people, I've got a friend at Homesick Attitude, and I'm like, that's totally your archetype, dude.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You've got that sexy, mysterious brunette at the bar. And she's like,
You know?
I'm like, that's totally. But my thing, and I think System of a Down fits into that, is it's a very cheerful,
totally,
open.
Yeah.
You know, you're not like, oh, I'm gonna get a PhD on learning what their lyrics.
No.
But I remember having a big fight. Well, not a big fight, but a bit of an argument with my high school boyfriend. Because I think he was a little bit jealous about like how much I loved Serj. I don't know, like, but that can happen, and people get a little jealous of famous, like,
Totally.
but he'd be like, oh, the lyrics don't mean anything. Like, they're just saying gibberish.
Oh my god.
You know, and I was
sure.
like, yes, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, pizza pie is clearly about marketing. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look deeper into it, but they also like stick to their guns, right? So like if they know like where their morals are and what they stand with, you know, so like they know what they're gonna sing about. There's a band Anti-Flag that I've been listening to for fucking years. They do the exact same thing. You know exactly what you're gonna get from that, and it might be like, oh, okay, like if you're not gonna put this on to not hate the government, right? But at the same time, too, you're gonna have drink punk, like you know what I mean?
On and vote red. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, well, and red Republican in the
totally.
States. It's the opposite here, though, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the Conservative Party is blue here, and Liberal Party is red.
Is
but
it
they're
just
both kind of.
thing?
But they're both like kind of conservative
They're
anyways.
both fairly
left, right.
Yeah.
NDP is more like the people.
Yeah.
gravitate towards,
What is the political, like, what is it like in New Zealand? Because I know nothing
I
about.
can answer this, but I need to pee. Probably because I take
Oh,
a
yeah,
pause.
of course.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah,
of
you bet.
course. Yeah.
Anyway, so, politics. Well, you didn't film that?
Okay.
Damn.
Oh, we filmed
Politics,
that.
politics in New Zealand is it's very similar to here.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, it's like there's the two main parties, but they're pretty centralist.
Mm-hmm.
But then I would say the Green Party in New Zealand is more like the NDP.
Okay.
Like, whereas the Green Party here seems to be falling apart a little bit. Like,
a little bit, yeah. They're a bit they're a little bit all over the place because they are obviously very environmentally focused, but then like leadership within the party have very different ideas for, you know, everything else. So there's a lot of like very fiscally conservative and stuff.
I
so,
heard some goss.
Oh.
From a friend she's like, oh, this is going on and this is going on, and they lost a lot of like younger people and like
yeah.
and
It's
I was like, man,
it's unfortunately falling apart a bit. The leadership right now is not great. Yeah.
Whereas the Green Party at times has gotten up to like, I think when the Left Party was really struggling, it got up to like 20-something%. Like it got, and like I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 elections ago, international commentators were like, watch the Greens. Like they're actually quite a big force in the New Zealand. I mean, with Jacinda Ardern being as popular as she is, that really took a huge chunk out of that. But also, I mean, she took off the right. Like, I think she got the most votes of any one party in history in New Zealand politics.
Oh, wow.
Like this
Damn.
with her handling of the pandemic, the right-wing leader being historically pretty unpopular.
Right.
And
I
then-
was gonna say she's gotten a lot of attention over this last
and like
year and a
international
bit.
press.
Well, I think rightfully so. I mean, like everybody was really jealous when you guys were like having full packed stadiums and
I
doing
know.
cool shit, right?
I imagine for me, man, like my comedy friends over there were like doing like the gala with like 3,000 seats.
Yeah, we're still
should have gone back. But
Was that ever an option? Like your folks and
I
family?
thought
still back
about it.
then?
Yeah. So it's like you have to stay for 6 months, otherwise you have to pay for quarantine, which is quite a bit. It's a couple grand,
that's a
and, like,
lot.
It is a bit of a hurt, and plus you have to spend 2 weeks in quarantine. Like,
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So, but I think we're gonna, because I was sort of hoping like, I was like, yeah, by Christmas, and then my family are saying no, like, with the new variants and like,
and
they reclosed the travel bubble with Australia and New Zealand.
and even here, like the Okanagan bars are shutting down again, and masks are mandatory again. So
I know, and they're like, even people that have been vaccinated can get like,
it's coming back. I have festival tickets in Vegas in September. That
what are you gonna see?
Punk rock bowling. It's just, I mean, a laundry list of like all the the biggest bands, Circle Jerks, No Effects, and all that stuff, which is gonna be great.
Oh,
but
so fun.
Devo is playing this year too, which like that's gonna be a lot of fun. But with my friends that I'm going with being from Los Angeles, with San Francisco and LA, they're starting to see shows get pushed back to further dates, more restrictions coming, and it's kind of like, it just feels like it's the start of like the last wave or whatever that just kind of happened, right? So I'm trying to stay positive, but at the end of the day, you know, you're really looking forward to at least getting out and doing the thing.
At least we get to do comedy shows again.
I was gonna say, at least I will be so like, I think we're all right here because in Vancouver, a lot of people are
really
getting
high.
exactly.
Yeah, I just got my second one. We're
so I think we'll probably be okay. And the thing in the Okanagan is that the vaccination rates are much lower, and like in the States, the reason why they're having such issues is because they're so low.
Yeah, we went because we did a couple shows in Okanagan, and it was on fire.
Yeah,
and B, they were like bringing back mask mandate. But Chris and I were like, I don't think this is the first time we've been driving to do a show and the world's ending. Like this has happened already 3 times. Like
totally.
But it was nuts. Like,
how are the shows? Were people coming out? And
people were. I mean, it was great. Like it was fun. Hopefully everyone was vaccinated, and I mean, it is a bit of a moral dilemma too, because like the first, like before vaccine, when stuff came out before, I was like, I'll do shows that people ask me, but I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely wasn't like hustling.
Totally.
You know,
Oh,
I was
God, not
like,
at all,
okay,
yeah.
I'll like see kind of what the vibe is. You know?
Yeah.
And with the Pyrex, it was actually safe-ish.
Yeah.
But now I feel a little bit more kind of okay, but then I'm like, should I?
Well, I don't know. At the
Yeah,
time when we didn't
I
really know what was going on, there was a lot of people that were running rooms very differently,
Yeah.
right? There was some that definitely felt safer than others, right? So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The summer was like, woo!
Yeah,
loose,
some
pretty
of them,
fast
and loose in
some
some
of
of
them
those rooms.
were quite loose.
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah. Were
Put
you?
that on the internet and start a discussion.
Yeah. We'll write a manifesto about it.
we still love everybody that booked us, and we look forward to the next
Yeah.
spot.
I have some free time next week if anyone wants to do like a bit of a Facebook thread.
Yeah.
Some shows.
Yeah, so I have some spare popcorn that I need to.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. But were you doing any of like the Zoom shows and
Yeah,
stuff?
you know what? I was into Zoom. Like, it was I just did a show back. I think it was a comedy often one in the green where everyone was kind of talking about how they didn't do Zoom shows or whatever. And I was like, I did.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, that was sweet.
You're one of the only that have anything positive to say about it. I think.
Yeah,
every-
well,
I think
Yeah.
it's just like
I was
the
gonna
vibe.
say most people, yeah.
I
Well-
just like to be dissident against like
Well,
what
Yeah.
others.
When I did
Yeah,
that, like, there's
it's
something
so
about like
system of a
like the
down.
environment and going to do it and stuff,
Sure.
right? That
Yeah.
when the laptop closes and you're just kind of like alone in the room or whatever. I think
Exactly,
it was a
yeah.
lot more personal problems
Yeah.
that people had with it rather than the actual shows
In
themselves.
general,
Yeah.
I'll take anything.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I have these things because, like, Chris is like, oh, I don't like to do corporates. And I'm like, I'll do a corporate. You know, it's a room full of people that all happen to work at the same place that want to
Sure.
clean a set. Sure. You know, I'll do it.
Yeah.
If they're
Like-
paying, I'd love to. Yeah.
For
Yeah.
me, I'm like, comedy's comedy, man. Like,
Totally.
yeah. And also, comics are the worst at hating everything.
Yeah.
Like, they'll be like,
yeah.
ugh, cruise trip, ugh, corporate,
Yeah.
ugh, Zoom show,
Yeah.
ugh, the early crowd,
Yeah.
ugh, Thursday,
Totally.
Yeah.
ugh, bar show.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
is there anything, you know,
That
like
you are
other
into,
than
yeah.
like
Yeah.
a Friday night, 8 p.m. club crowd
Yeah.
that you can live with? You know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
And I
yeah.
get it. It's nowhere near as fun, you know?
Absolutely.
But,
Yeah,
like,
but that's part of it
it's
too.
still
Like
comedy,
if you only
like-
if you only like it when it's like the best conditions, then it's like, do you really
Yeah.
like it that much?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
why are
really
you
I
fun.
think
doing
at the
it?
level
Yeah,
that we're
yeah.
at, like we're still doing like ambush shows and restaurants
right,
before
right.
the thing, right? Like,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I
When
mean,
people
honestly,
aren't
like,
expecting a
yeah,
comedy show.
So-
totally, right?
was-
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like having. Comedy's comedy. I like doing it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, same.
Yeah.
I'm like comedy's comedy. Like it's not always ideal, but nothing's ever ideal, you know.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
So it's like, but the Zoom shows, I actually got really into them. Like, and the jokes that worked on Zoom work at clubs. The
Right,
jokes are
yeah.
jokes, you know, and you could get some decent laughs going, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when once we kind of worked out, like get people on 30% volume,
right.
get people, to have their video on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You could get a big laugh on Zoom,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then you're doing your set and it's hitting and it's like like where it didn't work for me was when there was like no feedback
Right.
and it was like just do your jokes to the camera
yeah.
with no one around.
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
That for me was
It's a
tough
bit
and it's
weird.
still tough.
Yeah.
Totally.
But there's different skills. Like for instance, like Seth Meyers has like risen in late night
Totally.
TV
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's worked out
Yeah.
how to do the attic thing just to the camera. Good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some of the other hosts
I
haven't
think
been.
John Oliver's was.
I was
been
gonna
good
say
as
John
well.
Oliver,
Some of them
yeah,
have
yeah.
been bad.
Some
Those
of them-
two stand out for sure.
Yeah.
Some of them have not been as good at adapting, and
Yeah.
it's like one of the most important things always is adapting. You know,
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly,
and
yeah.
if
Well, I
you
think
can-
Andrew
everything's
Schultz
gonna
came and blew
change.
them both out of the water with what he did. Like I mean,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just the format and the pacing of it was.
Yeah,
fucking
he really
incredible.
went with
if
it.
you can,
yeah.
if you can thrive in a new, you can be like, look, this is happening, and I respect people that didn't like Zoom shows. I'm not like, oh, you didn't like Zoom, but I mean, because of course, is fine, and some people's comedy doesn't work as well. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But so there's a pivot or whatever, but it's still kind of fun to be like, okay, like I remember sitting down and be like, okay, what's the Zoom skill?
yeah.
And writing some notes for myself after the first Zoom show I did where I sort of thought, that was kind of hard. It was like, okay, what would make it good? And it was kind of interesting because I love what creativity does under pressure as well. Like, everyone became a prop comic.
right.
That was the
yeah,
other
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah.
Because props were kind of funny on Zoom. Because you got the
Yeah.
camera and you're in your own house and you can grab
Yeah.
a thing. And there was
Totally.
some hilarious, like even like really big pros that would, snare at a prop comic. Were like,
Yeah.
I'm a prop comic now. Like, it's fun what kind of different creative stuff comes out of those situations.
Totally.
We were watching one of Susie's shows on Zoom, and I think it was Alex McKenzie was hosting it, and like at the end he was like, the show, it went late, and so he was like making like a bowl of pasta while he was like hosting.
You could see the steam and the green screen and all this stuff. Like he was making pasta. It was hilarious.
Seeing inside people's houses, I actually do a bit about it now, because there was one woman smoking on her bed with a wall of crucifixes.
That's awesome.
Like, I'm like, enough about me. Like,
that's the most interesting woman in the world.
What's been your journey to get you here? And I do that now. I talk about that on stage now. It's like, because it's stuff, you know, and sometimes people get huge. It's a different type of crowd work,
right?
But it was like, you know, someone like someone was at work in like a forklift situation. Yeah. Where I was like, where is your phone even? Like they're driving around picking up.
Oh my God.
Like it was wild, but it was like, I was like, cool. But also like, I love in history. I want to be part of it. I want to be like, when I was filming on set, I had to take a mask off before each take. You know, I had to do Zoom show. I'll tell my grandkids, I'll be like, what was crazy? Everything Sister Down predicted came to pass.
Well, you have something interesting to say about it, rather than like how you just bombed and sat in your room and talked shit on the internet until it came back, right?
The what it became under those circumstances, and it was interesting, and there was a certain closeness with comedians that sort of were surviving it and doing it, where it was like, we've kind of lived through this thing together, and it's been kind of bonding, and you know, it's like, you know, life's life, comedy's comedy, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all in the waterfall. You
You
want in the river, and then you want to get after the fall. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Which obviously you do, I think. So, duh.
Hell yeah. Well, no, that's this has been fantastic. Do we have anything else you want to go? Do you want to direct the people to where can they find you?
Yeah, I mean, go like I really need some more Insta followers. It's getting bad. Like I should get some bots or something, because like I remember when I first came to Vancouver, my agent was like, okay, so fake you is doing better than real you. You know?
Oh, no.
There was some fake me. And I was
Get the fuck out of here.
And they were killing. You know? I was like, and I've changed my name to like a less bad but still pretty bad name. I'll work on it. I'll take suggestions. The moment I'm in town.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm in town.
Yeah, totally.
I'm in your town. I'm in a town near you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone's going to watch this from Victoria, but we've got some shows coming up that Common Here Often's producing and filming. We'll get some stuff online at the Event Center in Victoria. I think it's like 20th to 22nd, 23rd. It's all on my Instagram. Surfing Town.
Yeah, absolutely.
There
No,
you
we're
go.
going to have all the links. We'll direct everybody.
Yeah, and I'm from the island, so we'll definitely have some island
cool.
listeners
and I
watching.
share, I share all my shows, and like if I'm in a series or whatever, like I'll share it on there. So that's like, rather than being like blah blah blah, just please, just
toss her a follow.
Yeah.
Okay,
Get to 1,102. You know?
Yeah. Hey, I just hit 500, and it was a milestone.
But mine are all real, you know. Like, 'cause people are buying them now. Like, I've definitely got some friends that are actors that haven't like done too much stuff that have got like 50,000, and I'm like, where'd you get all your? Yeah. Like, should I do more hashtags? But also,
they buy followers.
They
so
do,
it's like fake.
but also that's. Like lame, because you want followers that like enjoy your art and like follow you.
Yeah, the whole point is to like build yourself up,
or ideally just have no Instagram and just sleep and just.
I mean, that is
just
ideally.
Be happy.
Yeah, it's just
in a perfect world.
It's just to exist.
Yeah, you want in the river and then you want to get out after the falls.
There you go.
You know it.
I personally like to get out before the fall, but hey, that's not going to happen for any of us. You know?
Well. I'm paraphrasing, so that bit's very blurry. We'll
go back to it.
Always want to play, but you never want to lose. Aerials in the sky. When you lose forward, you free your life. I went off key at the end just
oh no, that was beautiful. Yeah.